Okay, Jim Barnette here. I was company commander of the local National Guard company, and as a result of the crash, we were mobilized on state duty, and our mission was to provide security for the National Guard Armory, provide security for the actual crash site, and once they started reassembling the plane, which is over on Four Seasons Boulevard, we had to guard that site also. Once the rescue squad and volunteer firemen brought the bodies to the National Guard Armory, we were pretty much in charge of taking care of the bodies as far as trying to reassemble the body parts, get it all in order, and waiting on the FBI identification team to come. Once the FBI identification team came, they occupied one of the classrooms and set up these large charts with all the passengers' names, and then they started checking off the fingerprints, health records, dental records, pictures, and so forth. And of course, our mission continued to try to keep all the visitors from the Armory. There was no press people allowed in the Armory, no pictures to be taken. We didn't even allow the relatives to come in. We had a separate room where they were taken and oriented on what was taking place. The activities within the Armory were right gruesome. We had all the bodies laid out on the floor. There were a few that didn't look like they'd been injured at all. And then some were completely burned up. Many members were disassembled as far as body parts. I was surprised at the number of heads that were removed from the bodies. It was sort of puzzling to me. But our duties at that time consisted of moving the bodies around and taking them into the FBI identification team. And I don't know if you want me to describe how they took the fingerprints or not, but then we'd take them back out, and then after just a few days we got refrigeration trucks. We could take some of the bodies out and put them in refrigeration trucks. But then of course we had to go retrieve the bodies at times. So what was so bad about it is you continually were handling the bodies time after time. You almost got familiar and acquainted with them almost, it seemed like, because you were in contact with them so much. And of course, some of the guys just couldn't handle it all. They'd get sick and have to go out and throw up. They'd always come back and do their job. I don't know if there's any more of the gruesome parts you want me to talk about or not, but that's mainly what our duties consisted of as far as the National Guard was concerned. Once we started securing the crash site, there weren't too many people coming, but for a long time they had a lot of visitors. So, you know, people wanted to come to see the crash site and so forth. The real job was trying to organize the company so you could maintain the people at each location, because when you're working 24 hours a day and you got a certain number of people and you're trying to guard 3 different locations, you soon run out of people. And so on one weekend there, we even had the 82nd Airborne send a platoon up from Fort Bragg. It gave us a little bit of relief there to let everybody rest just a little bit before they came back to duty. We had one room there, the range in the Armory was used for the doctors to do autopsies. And then we had a naval representative to come down from Pentagon that stayed there in my office for the whole period. He was a naval officer, because, you know, we had the new naval secretary and his family were on that plane. And so they had a naval representative down there for that purpose there. And he stayed there pretty much the whole time. Well, of course, it was a big, exciting event. I mean, morbid, but a lot of people were interested. And of course, it seemed like everybody was jumping in, wanting to volunteer to help. We had some women organizations come in and helped deodorize the place, keep the odor down. I think the community was fully committed to do whatever is necessary to handle the situation. I was real pleased with them. I know that members of the Guard did a real good job. Unfortunately, I don't think any of them ever got recognized for the job they did. I know I got a call after this was all over from the Pentagon one time, and they wanted me to send in a narrative on what the naval officer did. So they gave him a recommendation or commendation. But my people never get any commendation at all, I don't think. Of course, they weren't worried about that. They just did their job.